Once upon a time, in America, there was this young student, and he was hitching from one part of America to another. So he stood for hours and hours at the side of the road, and the few cars that were passing weren't stopping for him. And the longer that he stood there, the harder that the rain came down. He stood there for hours and hours, and finally it came on a thunder as well. Well, just shortly after this, he could see car headlights in the distance, looking like all the world like a ghost, and they were moving very, very slowly towards him. And as the car was drawn up to him, well, it didn't exactly stop, and he wasn't very sure whether the car was stopping for him or what. But the thing is, he'd stood there for long enough, so he grabbed the back door handle and he opened it, and he flung himself in and shut the door ahead of him. And once he'd sat up properly, he was just about to thank the driver when he realised that there was no driver, and yet the car was going along the road. Well, the laddie got sick of gliff, and his heart was going 9 to the dozen, but he was pinned to the back seat, and he thought to himself, I should just get myself right out of here, get myself right out of here. But the car was going along the road, and so he just couldn't do anything. He would have been killed. So the car continued along the road for quite some time, and then at one point the laddie just sees a corner coming up through the windscreen, and he thought to himself, I'm going to be killed here, I'm going to be killed for my folly. So the car got closer and closer to this corner, and the laddie's heart was going 9 to the dozen, and just at the very last second there was this hand appears through the driver's side of the window and grips the steering wheel and steers the car round the corner. And once the car was round the corner, the hand disappears at the driver's side of the window again. Well, the laddie was fair aside himself with fear. His heart was gone even harder now. Well, the car continued along the road, and it continued for quite some time. Then it came to the next corner. The laddie saw it through the windscreen, and the car got closer and closer and closer to that corner. Then just at the very last second, this hand appeared through the driver's side of the window again, gripped that steering wheel and steered the car round the corner. The laddie was so full of fear, he wasn't sure whether it was better just crashing because it was such a creepy thing. Well, then the car continued along the road. And at every corner, just at the very last second, this hand would appear again to grip the steering wheel to steer the car round the corner. Well, this went on for quite some time. Then after a while, it started going even slower. It was going up a hill, and the laddie thought, it's either now or never. It's now or never. I must get myself out of here. So he grabbed what courage he could in his own 2 fists, and he flung open the car door, and he flung himself out, and the car continued up the hill. Well, the laddie was all right, he was fine. He was a wee bit drookit and whatnot, and he had a few scars and bruises, but he dieted himself down, and he started walking up that hill. And he walked for about 10 minutes till he came to the nearest town. And once he was in the nearest town, he saw to a bar. He walked into the bar, and he walked right up to the counter, and he said to the barman there, 2 shots of whiskey, 2 shots of whiskey. So the barman duly served him 2 shots of whiskey. And he flung them yin by yin over his thrapple. And then he proceeded to tell the story of what had happened to him. Now at first the men round the bar thought, oh, he was a wee bit daft, or he'd been somewhere drinking somewhere else. But they realised that in the way that he spoke, that he was quite a sober young fella. and that he must be telling the truth. So they all started to get the cold creeps. Well, it was hardly 5 minutes after the laddie had finished telling his story when the bar door opened again and there was 2 men walked in, and they were pointing to the student at the bar, and Yen says to the other, "Do you see what I see?" "Aye, I see, that was that laddie, that daft laddie that jumped into our car to get a lift after we broke down and we were pushing the car along the road."